Hi, my name is Jeremy Brunansky, and you're about to watch a brand new episode of Brunanskys Vlog. This is a weekly show that drops every Monday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on YouTube. In this show, we cover movie news, movie reviews, and a little bit more. If this is your first time with us, consider clicking that subscribe button. For everybody who's returning, thank you so much. And as always, if you enjoy any portion of this show, give me that thumbs up button. Let's go ahead and cut now to this week's episode. Good morning. It's Monday morning. It's 10 a.m. PST, and that means it's time for another episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Thanks for joining us this morning. We got a lot of really cool news stories to talk about this week, but take a look at some of the behind-the-scenes things happening for movies that are in development or are about to come out in theaters. Also, we're going to take a look at 2 movie reviews this week. I was able to get out to the theaters to see Hostels, as well as Maze Runner: The Death Cure. So after the news segment's over, you're not gonna wanna go anywhere because those movie news are coming right after that. And then after that, we'll take a look at what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, because maybe you don't wanna go see any of those films, you'd prefer a comfortable evening in. We'll take a look at what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray so that you can enjoy that comfortable night at home. And finally, my favorite segment of the show will conclude this week's episode with Certified Rad. This is an inspiring story about a father and son, a son who's a first-generation American with an immigrant father who both graduate college together. But it doesn't stop there. This week's Certified Rad really dives into just how great this one particular family is, specifically with the father and son. So you are definitely going to want to stay to the end to check that segment out. All right, everybody, I don't want to take up any more time with this introduction. It's 10 a.m. PST. You're on YouTube watching Brunansky's Vlog. Let's go ahead and cut now to the news. In the news, Drew Barrymore will star and then star again in the new rom-com The Stand-In. Link for the article in the show notes below. So it's been a while since we've actually seen Drew Barrymore on the big screen. Her last film was in 2015, and that was titled Miss You Already. But this isn't to suggest that she's been completely out of the loop. She's still acting for TV and Netflix. So I'm curious to see what she's able to bring back to the big screen after having 3 years off, to see what her charm and personality can still pull. And from the way this film sounds, it sounds like it could actually be a pretty fun time. It's labeled as a rom-com, which is short for romantic comedy, and the film is about a washed-up movie star, and she plays that lead role, and the movie star gets arrested for tax evasion and is sentenced to community service. So she actually hires her look-alike to do the community service in her place. So it has a lot of potential to see her actually playing both roles, similar to what we got from like comedians like Eddie Murphy, etc., where they're playing more than one character in the film. Mike Myers. There's just so many fun moments that can happen on screen when these actors are able to deliver on these split performances. I think it can be charming, but we have seen it hit and miss. So we have to kind of wait and see. So just again, initially, I'm excited to see what this film can bring and what it can offer, because I like her performances and I like her character that she plays in different films. She's charming. She just radiates just a positive energy about her whenever she's on the screen. There's just something special about her performances, and I think that's why we as an audience keep going back to her movies time and time again. So I'm excited to see more from this film as it continues to develop, and I'm sure we'll be covering it here on the channel. Comment below with your thoughts. Willem Dafoe joins Edward Norton in Motherless Brooklyn. The film is set in 1954's New York, where Tourette syndrome-affected private eye Lionel Esrog witnesses the murder of his only friend and mentor by shadowy thugs. So I'm actually very curious to see what comes from this film, because from that initial just little synopsis that I just read from the Deadline article, which you can find in the description box below, it sounds like it has the leanings to be a possible like mystery meets comedy, but with these two guys in it, I'm not necessarily sure it's going to be a straight up comedy as much as it might be like a darker comedy if it has any comedic tones at all. Because when you're a private detective and you have Tourette's, there is a leaning to make that comedic, but they also might play it very straight and make it much more dramatic. Like this is an ailment that's affecting his ability to do his job, as opposed to it being something more comedic and lighthearted to provide some levity in what sounds like an intense and disturbing film. And when you get two actors like Willem Dafoe and Edward Norton, and they're going to be paired paired up with each other in this detective piece set in the 1950s, I think this has a lot of potential. Now, I did some research, and from what I could tell, the last film that they were in together was actually the Grand Budapest Hotel back in 2014. So if I'm wrong on that, go ahead and fact check me and throw it in the comments below and let everybody know what the last film they were in together was, because my research said 2014 Grand Budapest Hotel. Further in the article, it goes on to state that there's this whole like real estate political maneuvering that's going on to try and like get certain housing out of the way so they can do development for other things. There's a lot of intrigue in this, and it sounds very exciting. And another reason I'm excited is because I believe Edward Norton can pull off the private detective with Tourette's. That may sound odd that I can see him doing it, but for those of you who have seen the movie The Score, this film right here, you know that Edward Norton is capable of performing off incredible performances that are nuanced and challenging. So if you haven't, Edward Norton plays a character that suffers from a mental disability and is a janitor. And I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that because I don't want to ruin any of the surprises if you decide to see this. If you are interested in seeing this, I'll go ahead and throw a link for it in the description box below. But it's because of his performance in that role that made me go, I absolutely believe 100% that Ed Norton can pull off this private eye with Tourette's. And Willem Dafoe is an incredible talent, and I think that him playing any role alongside Edward Norton is only going to elevate both of their performances. Go ahead and sound off below with your thoughts about whether or not Ed Norton can pull off a private eye with Tourette's, and are you excited to see Willem Dafoe join back up with him in another film for the big screen? Tom Hanks is set to star in the Mr. Rogers biopic, You Are My Friend. Link for the Variety article in the show notes below. I think this is just a grand slam. And who better than Tom Hanks to actually play this iconic role for this incredible television star. It's also nice to see Tom Hanks come back into the biopic role, because if you saw Saving Mr. Banks, you understand what an incredible job he can do. Now, if you haven't seen Saving Mr. Banks, he plays Walt Disney, and Walt Disney is trying to acquire the rights to make the Mary Poppins movie. Highly recommend this film. Really great, really pulls on the heartstrings in this story. Definitely recommend it. I'll throw a link for this in the show notes below as well in case you haven't seen it. Definitely recommend checking out Saving Mr. Banks because I think that will give you a better idea of what Tom Hanks is capable of when he has to step into the shoes of people who were once these iconic figures in real life and now try to recreate that magic for us on the big screen. Outside of what we've already seen Tom Hanks do as Walt Disney in Saving Mr. Banks, I think it's safe to assume that Tom Hanks is always going to bring the sauce when it comes to his performances, and we're always going to get that top level quality talent from him, no matter what his role. And then you tell me he's gonna be playing Mr. Rogers. It's like, look, I'm already in the boat, ready to go on this adventure. If there was more of me to put on the boat to go with us, I would. But this just like, I was like, Tom Hanks, yep, Tom Hanks is Mr. Rogers, triple yep. Cannot wait to see what comes from this film. Now, the Variety article down below in the description box doesn't cover anything about the Mr. Rogers documentary that debuted at Sundance, which I believe was probably a catalyst for helping to get this film made, because in the article below, it actually mentions how this film was once on the blacklist. So it's entirely possible that after the documentary released at Sundance and got a lot of really great high praise from everybody there, that the studios went, okay, let's go ahead and remove this script from the blacklist. Let's get this film made, and thank goodness we've got Tom Hanks to play the role. So I'm pretty excited to see what's going to come from this film. I'm also excited to see this documentary that debuted at Sundance. Go ahead and comment below with your thoughts about Tom Hanks playing the iconic Mr. Rogers. All right, let's move into honorable mentions this week. Honorable mentions: F. Gary Gray is in talks to direct a Men in Black relaunch. John Logan was hired by Paramount to adapt the Leonardo da Vinci biography by Walter Isaacson. Octavia Spencer is teaming up with Tate Taylor once again for a psychological thriller entitled Ma with Blumhouse. The fourth film in the Purge franchise has a title and poster: The First Purge. Cowboy Ninja Viking has found its director in Michelle McLaren. And that wraps up this week's news segment here on Brunansky's Vlog. Hope you guys enjoyed the topics as much as I enjoyed discussing them with you. If at any time you enjoyed those topics, go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Don't forget to leave your comments below about any of the topics that we discussed this week. But don't go anywhere, because we are going to segue now right into movie reviews. This week, I got out to see two films in the theaters. The first was Hostels with Christian Bale. Second was Maze Runner: The Death Cure, the third in the trilogy. And then right after that, don't go anywhere because we have what's arriving in theaters this week, what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray, and finally Certified Rad. But let's go ahead and roll now right into those movie reviews. The year is 1892 and the Wild West is very much alive and well in America. The lifestyle is dangerous in these parts, and your next decision could very well be your last decision. Safety isn't the standard of living in these parts, and even being housed in a station full of your fellow troops can feel like a prison sentence. So, does Hostiles paint an accurate picture of life as a soldier moving across the country on horseback, or does this film need to be put down like a wounded horse? Let's dive in and take a look in this review. Christian Bale and Rosamund Pike deliver two of the most complex, layered, and captivating performances. The gambit these two run in this story is both heart-wrenching and thought-provoking. The beginning of the film shows us exactly what life is like for both of these characters and why they're biased or broken in one way or another. The life of a career soldier and the life of a ranch mother are so vastly different, but still very similar because of how well written this story is told. We understand immediately that both of these characters have been through difficult, near impossible situations, and now life is challenging them once again. It's in this new series of challenges, though, that they both realize one very important truth about life. Hatred only destroys those who carry it within themselves. And again, because of how well written this film is, we as an audience don't really grasp that that's the theme until the finale of the film, because of the adventure all these characters go on. It isn't until the last few scenes of this film that we realize the entire theme of this movie is about forgiveness and letting go of hatred. It's about moving your life forward in a positive frame of mind. And it's about identifying when the seasons of your life change and understanding that when they change, you may need to catch the next train out of town. At first, this film felt like an epic tale of life in the Wild West as we see Captain Joseph Blocker, played by Christian Bale, lead a team of soldiers from New Mexico all the way up to Montana. They're escorting Chief Yellowhawk, played by Wes Studi, who's been in prison for crimes against the settlers and the soldiers in the area, to Montana with his family so that he may live out his last few days at home. The Chief and Captain Blocker both have a very intense and brutal history with each other. This actually helps elevate and continue to elevate the tension and the stress and the mood from near beginning to end. The journey that all of these characters go on is intense for specific reasons, which are all appropriate for the individual. There is little free time to rest because as soon as one life-threatening incident is survived, or not in some cases, another one is right on the way. Hostiles is playing at your local movie theater right now, and I am definitely recommending a big screen viewing of this film. I'm honestly surprised that more people aren't talking about how powerful the story and the message of this film are. Not knowing anything about this film, really, when I walked in, when I walked out, I was completely moved and impressed by all of the performances and the overall theme. This could actually make it into my top 5 favorite westerns of all time list. It's violent, it's heartbreaking, it's inspiring, and so much more. This story has so much to offer, I really cannot recommend that you guys go see this on the big screen enough. And because of that, Hostiles is getting both high fives from this guy. Hostiles is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. The third film in the franchise begins with a daring rescue mission that has immediate complications. From there, the adventure begins and we are taken on a futuristic, heist, meets action, meets zombie thrill ride. The risk factor is high for all parties concerned in this film if their individual plans do not succeed. So, does Maze Runner: The Death Cure manage to deliver on an amalgamation of genres, or is there no cure for this trilogy? Let's dive in and take a look in this review. This is the first film of this trilogy that I've seen. In fact, I don't even remember seeing any of the trailers for this movie. So I went into the theater with a pretty open mind about everything I was about to experience on the big screen. And much to my surprise, the fact that I knew absolutely nothing about this world, the characters, the previous stories, that didn't seem to dampen the level of enjoyment I had watching this third film in the trilogy. There were a couple moments where I didn't know why certain characters were important, or why dramatic music would start playing when someone showed up, signaling to us as the audience that this should be stressful, this should be mood changing or a surprise. But overall, this film doesn't rely on the previous two films to make sense, and for that I was thankful. However, for fans of this franchise, that knowledge about the characters in this whole world will probably actually increase the level of enjoyment they have watching this third film. The overall story to me was fairly predictable, but still entertaining. And the one big issue I did have with this film was simply the runtime. This film clocks in at over 2 hours, and it feels like every minute of over 2 hours. After several moments where the film feels like it's wrapping up, only to add one more problem for the team to solve, I began to wonder if the cinematic adventure would ever end. Fortunately for us though, even though this film does feel every bit of over 2 hours long, they do a really great job of keeping things exciting as issue after issue after issue arises for everybody involved in this film. The best way for me to kind of summarize it all up is to imagine that you're on a fast-moving roller coaster that has occasional slow moments, but then is racing again. However, after some time, you're ready for the roller coaster ride to end because you're ready to experience something. Fun ride, too long, let's move on. Maze Runner: The Death Cure is playing at your local movie theater right now. And if you're a fan of this franchise, I am going to recommend a big screen viewing. And for those of us who don't know anything about the franchise, I'm going to recommend a big screen viewing for y'all as well. Just make sure you go during matinee time for a cheaper ticket price. If you're a fan of the occasional movie that requires little to zero brain power but is a fun visual spectacle, this is a great time at the movies. Despite its predictability and long run time, this really does have everything a fun afternoon flick should have. We have heists, hand-to-hand combat, futuristic planes, and car chases. We have zombies, or something like a zombie. Very zombie-esque. We have explosions and buildings crumbling to the ground. And finally, we have some pretty cool futuristic weapons that kind of just pop up throughout the film. There's plenty to be enjoyed, but be prepared to enjoy it for over 2 hours. And because of that reason, Maze Runner: The Death Cure is getting at least one high five from this guy. Maze Runner: The Death Cure is playing at your local movie theater right now. Check it out. All right, thank you guys so much for sticking around. We aren't done yet, so don't go anywhere. We still have got some things to cover as far as what's coming out in your local theater, what's coming out for your home theater, and Certified Rad. In theaters this week, 1517 to Paris, 50 Shades Freed, Peter Rabbit. Out of these three, the one film I'm most excited to see is 1517 to Paris. Since the first trailer, I've been on board with this film. I think it looks like it's going to be an incredibly well-shot, well-told, real-life story using the real-life heroes as well. Clint Eastwood does a fantastic job as a director. In fact, his last couple films that he's done I have enjoyed, and I don't see this film being the exception. There's a level of curiosity I have because with the real life heroes being in it and them not actually being actors, I'm curious to see what Clint Eastwood is able to pull from them as a performance, since they're going to have to recreate the feelings that they had in real life when they were going through that very intense and stressful moment on the train. And Peter Rabbit looks like it's just going to be a fun family film. Like, I might go out to see this with my nieces and nephews. I don't know, we'll have to wait and see. And the voice casting in it is really good as well. You have Margot Robbie, Daisy Ridley, Sam Neill, James Corden, and then Rose Byrne and Domhnall Gleeson leading the charge as far as the human portion of the film is concerned. So I really don't see a lot of negativity coming from this film. It just looks like it's going to be just a fun family film for everyone to kind of get out and see. And it looks like it'll have some fun slapstick humor in it as well. It looks like the animals are setting up something similar like Home Alone, where he's like getting electrocuted by touching the door, etc. Plus those rake jokes are always funny when you see someone step on the rake and it kind of pops them in the face. It just looks like it's going to be a fun, goofy time. You can just kind of sit down and just expect just an overall charming film with your family. And then there's 50 Shades Freed. This franchise has been trying to kind of corner the market as far as the Valentine's holiday release schedule is concerned. So 50 Shades of Grey came out back in 2015 with a production budget of about $40 million. Its domestic box office in total took over $160 million, signaling that not only did it make its money back, but it did turn a nice profit. 50 Shades Darker, released in 2017, also right before Valentine's Day. This one had a production budget of approximately $55 million. Domestic box office took in over $114 million in total, signaling again it made its money back and turned a small profit. The profit was a little bit less than the first film in the franchise, but still a profit, and so the third film, which is coming out this week, was greenlit. If you're one of those people that really like the 50 Shades movies, go ahead and comment below and leave your thoughts about the franchise. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at what's arriving on DVD and Blu-ray for your home theater. On DVD and Blu-ray this week, A Bad Mom's Christmas, Only the Brave, Suburbicon, LBJ, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. That's a pretty diverse list of films right there. So it looks like you got a little bit of something for everybody. You've got A Bad Mom's Christmas, which was a holiday comedy. Now, if you haven't seen this film and you're curious, I did my review for it. I'll go ahead and throw a card up for that review right here. You can just click on that and it'll take you right to my review for A Bad Mom's Christmas. I think this film will actually do better on DVD and Blu-ray than it did in theaters. You definitely didn't need to see this movie in theaters at all, but it could be a fun movie if you're having a girls' night or something like that where you just kind of want to get everybody together, pour some wine, eat some pizza, and laugh. Only the Brave looks like it's a more dramatic piece. I didn't get out to actually see this, but it looks like it's going to be a more dramatic piece of kind of exploring what it means to be a hero. So that could be fun in its own right if you like those types of more dramatic pieces. Probably worth your time to check that out. Plus the cast in it is really great. Suburbicon is a very different type of movie, and I also saw that and reviewed it, so I'll go ahead and throw that link up right here as well. And you can check out my Suburbicon review if you have any interest or curiosity about possibly seeing that film. This film is definitely a departure from the trailers. What I got from the trailers is not exactly what I got in the theater, but what I got in the theater was still enjoyable to a point. Even though it wasn't really a fantastic film, there were still some moments in it that I found enjoyable. And again, if you have any inclination towards watching this film, but you want to hear my review first, just go ahead and go back to that card I just threw up, and that'll actually take you right to the Suburbicon review. Or you can go to the movie review playlist, and you'll actually find all of the movies I've reviewed right there. Next up is LBJ. I didn't see this. I didn't even know it came out in theaters. I thought it was just a limited release. But if you were able to get out to the theaters to see it, go ahead and leave your comments below and let us know if we should check it out now that it's available on DVD and Blu-ray. Finally, Batman Gotham by Gaslight. Now, while I haven't seen this yet, DC Animation does a really good job with their animated films that go straight to DVD and Blu-ray. And if you're curious about what the story might be, I just threw up a special segment where I covered the comic book that this film is based on. So I'll go ahead and throw that card up right here, and you can check out my review of the comic that was released that, again, this movie was based on. It's a story that looks at what would Batman be like if Batman lived in the 1800s during that Victorian time frame. It's an interesting take on Batman in a different time period, but still maintaining the essence of Batman. So again, if you want to check it out, I recommend it because DC Warner, they do a really good job with their animated films, and I don't think this will be an exception. And again, the source material that it's coming from is very fun. All right, we're gonna go ahead and move now into my favorite segment of the show. You guys never know what's gonna drop, but I can guarantee that whatever drops will most definitely be certified rad. This week for Certified Rad, I wanted to take a look at a story about hard work, perseverance, and family. The story for Certified Rad this week comes from New Jersey. It's about a father and son who actually graduated college together. And the great thing about this story is there's so much greatness in it that it's just screaming to be Certified Rad for this week. Let's dive in. Ben Ginty is a 27-year-old first-generation American. His father is actually an immigrant from Haiti who's been here working dedicated to his job for over 25 years, driving a city bus. While Ben is 27, his father is 63. And according to Ben, in the article that you can find in the description box below, his father also worked several jobs and worked very late hours to try and provide for his family. He saw his father as an inspiration and a role model, which I think can be said for most boys and their fathers. And his father enrolled part-time in college at the age of 53. 10 years later, he and his son were both able to graduate from college together. Now in the article, it talks about how him and his father had a little bit of a spat, which caused some division. However, because it's family, you're always gonna find your way back home. And it's nice to see, and it was touching to see, that he came from the college he was at all the way back home so that he and his father could go to college together and graduate at the same time. And when you're able to take time to dedicate dedicate yourself to family like both he and his father were able to do, you can bet that's certified rad. But we're not going to stop there. This keeps going. Ben is now enrolled in a master's degree program, while his father opened up a financial business named after his mother to help families with their financial planning, which will in turn help lead those families to success. His father said he's doing this because he wants to help families figure out how they can afford to buy a home and to make sure all of their finances are in order so that they can achieve the American dream. He's doing this because he said he worked so hard and struggled his whole life. He knows what it feels like, and he wants to give back to the community to help folks have a better life than what he came up through. Which again, by itself, that is certified rad. And we're gonna keep going. So Ben, while coming back to graduate with his father, and then signing up for a master's degree program, also decided to raise money for his birthday, but not for himself, for an orphanage in Haiti. This might be one of the best families in America, people. An incredible story about a father who sacrifices his whole life for his family. His son recognizes it, sees his father as an inspiration. Certified rad. Comes back so he can graduate with his father in college because he's proud of his father and he wants to show him he loves him. Certified rad. Signs up to get a master's degree while his father opens up a business to help families in need so they don't have to struggle financially. Certified rad. For his birthday, he raises money for other people, and now he's gonna go fly to Haiti to give that money to an orphanage. Certified rad. There is so much excellence in this story. I encourage you to read the article in the description box below. Plus there's some fun family pictures as well. So when you look at a father who sacrificed his whole life, inspired his son, they graduate together to help people, you can guarantee that that is certified rad. And that wraps up this week's show. Thank you guys so much for joining me for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed the content that was dropped today on this show as much as I enjoyed talking about it with you. If you did enjoy it, please do go ahead and give me that thumbs up. Also, if you're new here, go ahead and click that subscribe button and the bell so you don't miss any future content once it drops on this channel. All right, everybody, I gotta get out of here because I've got to get over to Facebook Live so I can do a live stream with you guys to talk more movie news as well as the weekend box office report. Again, thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back next Monday right here on YouTube at 10 a.m. PST for a brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Have a great week, everybody. We'll see you on Facebook Live. Hi, I'm Jeremy Brunansky, and you've just finished watching another episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Along with the weekly show, we also have special segments, as well as DVD and video on-demand reviews that you may want to check out. Thank you so much for watching this brand new episode, and we'll see you next Monday at 10 a.m. PST for another brand new episode of Brunansky's Vlog. Have a great week, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.